they will go away with the Anglo-Palemitan trophy. Steve Howie alongside me, just try and sum things up for us from what we've seen tonight.
A very good, solid performance, a good workout. Everybody gets at least 45 minutes under the belt. And obviously everybody's basically trying to put themselves in the shop window for the manager to pick them for the first game of the season. Yes, they've got another week of intense training, and it will be intense training. But at the same time, you know, everybody's trying to say to Pep, listen, I'm ready, I'm fit, I feel strong, I feel quick, I'm kind of match ready and match fit as well. Still be that little couple of tweaks that everybody still needs to do, but at the same time, every one of them has given Pep a really difficult decision to make for the game against Wolves, because everybody did what they had to do. I mean, yes, there was some standout performances, and we've mentioned them, but you know, there will be some disappointed players, and so you can understand where the manager comes from when he's saying what he's saying about it. You know, he feels awful kind of telling these players that they're not playing when they haven't done anything wrong.
Well, nobody did anything wrong tonight, that is a fact, including this magnificent crowd. It's been a superb night in Palermo. It's been a brilliant, entertaining spectacle from the moment that anyone arrived at this stadium. We've had excellent music, we've had terrific noise, we've had 3 wonderful goals, and City have been outstanding and are absolutely razor sharp and ready to take on Wolves next weekend in the Premier League. Well, I have to say, listen, it's a game that City fans are going to be playing for the next 7 days, but Pep Guardiola's got some massive decisions to make. I mean, look, there is the balance, isn't there, Steve, between wanting a smaller squad so you don't have to disappoint anyone, but also having 2 really good players for every position and getting that balance between the 2.
Well, it is, and it's a difficult balance, and I don't think you can get that right, because you need a strong squad because of the competitions, not only the week in, week out hard graft of the Premier League, but it's also the cup competitions, and then on top of that you've got the Champions League as well. So, you know, there's definitely rotation. I mean, of course, there will be players that are, you know, as we'll see in the season, if they're fit, they'll be starting the majority of the weeks. But unfortunately, that means you have got a top player being on the bench for a few weeks on a trot, and a top players not even on the bench for a couple of weeks, and that's difficult. And I think players kind of semi-understand it in a way, especially nowadays, the way that, you know, the squads and how the rotation and stuff like that. But it's still a difficult one, because as a player you want to train all week, because you're looking forward to play in that game, because you are what the description is, you're a footballer, you want to play football. So whilst you've got so much respect for Pep and the club and all that kind of thing, you're really disappointed if you're not involved.
Well, you can almost hear the conversations breaking out among City fans all over the world at the moment. Who would you play in your starting 11? You know, it's a fantastic position to be in. I mean, let's look at those guys there. You've got Manuel Akanji and Ruben Diaz, the 2 centre-halves in the second half. Stones back to full fitness alongside Kuzanov in the first half. You were a central defender. And remember, Guardiola's not that far off being fit as well, a left-sided centre-half. That's just centre-half alone.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, it's just such a difficult one for the manager, because, you know, he'd be pulling in a player or speaking to the player on the training pitch and just sort of saying, listen, you're not playing on Saturday, and I really haven't got an excuse why. You know, because you've done everything that I've asked you to, and so you can understand where the manager's coming from, because he hasn't really got an excuse. You can't sort of say, well, it's because of this. You know, you haven't maybe done this, or you haven't done that. Every one of them, certainly on the evidence tonight, every one of them has put themselves right in the shop window, and rightly so, every one of them will be disappointed if they're not figuring in the squad or playing or on the bench against Wolves.
We could go through and and talk about each area of the pitch and keep debating about who and why and what and wherefore. But Savinho linked beautifully with Reijnders. So if Reijnders is someone who we think is going to be starting next week, and we don't know, but we're guessing, does that mean because Savinho combined with him that might be a pairing that sways the mind of the manager?
There's just so many kind of options that the manager has. As I said, I mean, even for me, the two outstanding players I thought today were Shirky and Reijnders. They were but everybody else played the part as well. So, as I said, it's just such a difficult one, and how he wants to set up and what kind of formation does he want to play. So, yeah, it's a really, really difficult one. You can imagine Pep getting maybe at the hotel tonight, and he's talking with his staff, and he'd be like, help us out. he'll need help for that decision.
Well, let's look back at the action from tonight's friendly, and there's been plenty of things for us to reflect upon. It's been a terrific night. City winning by 3-0, and let's take a look at the best moments of the match. Of course, that header early on that could have put Palermo in front. It was a great chance for Ceccaroni.
Yeah, and that all kind of stemmed from maybe just overplaying. We spoke about it earlier on in the game. Just kind of an unnecessary giveaway corner. And to be fair, I think the player really would be disappointed he didn't score.
And then this was just a moment's hesitation, and the ball won back, played in towards Palermo, who nearly got a telling touch at the far post.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate. It's a great little clip after the City player getting caught on the ball, but this is what it's all about. You've got Erling Haaland, who up until then wasn't really involved as much as what he would possibly like, but he gets half a glimpse of a goal and an opportunity, and he puts it in the back of the net.
Rico Lewis with the assist, and then in the second half, City made 10 changes, and one of those who came on was Reijnders, who combined well with Savinho to make it 2-0.
Yeah, I was super impressed with him when he came on in the second half. And yes, it's a lovely little feed to him from Savinho, but he takes a touch and just rifles it first time really on the bounce. Goalkeeper, absolutely no chance. Wonderful finish.
Yeah, there was one or two chances for Palermo. Let's not forget about that. And this was a really, really good one, which Le Douaron put over the crossbar.
Yeah, as I said, it's a wonderful ball in. I think he puts another one in after this as well. I'm not sure if it was short, but Akanji just gets caught. But again, the player will be disappointed he didn't get it at least on target.
Again, City did well down the right side, and Savinho and Reijnders involved. Just a little set there by the substitute Divine Mukasa, making his first bow in the first team. Just there, Reijnders again, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, a good little ball in and a good drive from Savinho, and as you said, a lovely little touch from Mukasa. He'd be delighted with that, just to get that assist as well. It's just the slightest of touches, but it's a touch which matters. And of course, Reijnders, who was super impressive, running from deep, direct, just bursts through there, gets his head up, sees where the goalkeeper is, gives him the eyes and slots it away.
Well, it's been a fabulous night, a really successful one in so many ways. Let's go down to Pitchside and get the thoughts of the crew down there.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. We are Pitchside here, and of course still joined by Steph Horton, Sean Wright-Phillips, and Kel's here as well after Manchester City win 3-0 on what was a wonderful, positive evening. We got to see pretty much everybody, 2 starting 11s pretty much as well. Sean, what did you make of the game?
It was a fascinating game, to be honest with you, in terms of, like you said, it was 2 different teams. In many ways, they played a similar way in terms of trying to go a little bit direct, especially in respect to the wingers. But I think when Tijjani comes on and he gives you that third-man run, it kind of opened Palermo up a completely different way, and that's how he gets his 2 goals.
Steph, just looking, obviously, as we know, it was a friendly. It's, of course, so building up to that first game against Wolves next week. What were the things you noticed as far as style of play or moments in the game that stood out to you? Was there anything different compared to last season?
I think for me, when we were attacking, I feel as though we had like a little bit more tempo, a little bit more energy, especially in that final third, to try and break teams down. And I think our style is our style, and we've got the players to be able to play whatever way we want to play. And I think a clean sheet's always healthy going into that next week, but also goals and bringing that confidence. So I think we're in a really good position. Everybody's back fit. And yeah, there's competition for places, which is always good.
Yeah, I mean, serious competition for places, Steph. We saw a starting 11, and then coming out into the second half, only Erling Haaland remained from that starting 11. Of course, he went off in around about the 60th minute as well. So lots of healthy competition.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think that's what we wanted last season when we had a lot of injuries. We needed them players to step up, and it just didn't happen. But, like, look, you look at them 2 11s, and most of them players would get any team in the Premier League at this moment in time, and very strong, and that can only help the squad. It helps you as a player. Like Sean might be agreeing, when you've got that competition, you know that every training session you're going to try and get on that team sheet, and I think for us it could be a successful season if we keep everybody fit.
You would say though, Sean, given that as well, that, I mean, at home you still had the likes of Rodri to come back from an injury, Phil Foden, Josko Gvardiol, just to name a few. You'd think maybe there does maybe need to be a little bit of a trim down. Do you think maybe Pep and his coaches with Hugo Viana will look to maybe have to do that slightly?
Well, I think Pep's always said he likes a small squad, so it wouldn't surprise me if that happens. But not only from Pep's side, from the players' side as well. They're going to want to play more games and play more regularly, and it's not going to be easy here, and they might want different. So yeah, it might be time for someone to move on, but who knows?
Lots of positives in the game, lots of positives today. I was sat next to you during that, I had the pleasure of sitting next to you. You were particularly in the first half impressed with Kushnerov.
Yes, I was. I think last year, as everybody knows, his game against Chelsea, which is normal, a massive game like that, can't speak a word of English, comes in and plays probably one of the biggest games of his career. It's only normally he's nervous, but even in that game, you saw him get better and better, and I think from that game to what he played in the season, you saw the improvement, and then to watch him tonight, his positioning, his reading of the game, the choices he made with the ball, all seemed to be the right choices. So to see that improvement, it was magnificent. And obviously, Steph being a centre-back, she was relating to pretty much the same thing as well, weren't you, Steph?
Yeah, I am a big fan of him. I think he's got so much potential. I think he's got the qualities that you needed to be a top centre-half. And
sure. I
think probably with the ball, like, it's decision-making when he gets used to players that will come, but ultimately his speed gets him out of a lot, but he's now reading the game a little bit better. So the first half, I think he got us out of some dangerous situations, and hopefully that gives him confidence and like the feeling of being a Man City player.
No, you touched upon it there as well, but you did point out as well, Steph, and there was a key moment when we more or less had 9 or 8 of our players close to their box and it looked like they were going to break. You don't realise how quick he is until you see him in person.
Yeah, I think when we're attacking, I think that's probably a difference that we've seen, is that we want to be really aggressive, we want to go 1v1, and when you 1v1 at your back, you probably want a bit of support, but you've got to be so brave. But when you've got that quality of the speed and the intelligence to put in a tackle, and we said he was a bit old school, like he likes a bit of a tackle, he likes a slide tackle, he likes that physicality, and he was actually brilliant today. So if we're going to play that way, he's got a huge part to play this season.
After Kushnerov, you were talking a lot about Ray and Nori in the first half. In fact, you were saying, I can't keep my eyes off him. I think you might be in love.
I was blushing and everything, to be fair. But he's just such a joy to watch, just the way he plays football in general. I think you see him in areas, but he's doing tricks like as if though he was a number 10 to get out of tight position. But not only when he gets out of it, he either drives and opens the team up, or he plays that cute pass. I thought he was absolutely unbelievable in the first half.
And you were saying as well, going forward, the on the attacking side of things as well. How good is it to have someone on from a wide position, which you used to do, getting the ball in quick?
It's massive. I think, especially in terms for Haaland. I think because teams already defend deep against us, so there's limited room. So when that ball goes wide, you've got maybe 2 or 3 seconds. Even that might be a lot, to get the ball at your feet, and that gap in between the goalkeeper and that back line, that space closes quickly. So if you take a touch towards that line, that space keeps closing. So it's better for him that if you get to that point and you get at your feet and you can whip in that ball, he's got all that space to attack.
Keeping in that position, but on the other side, I felt that we all were, but you pointed out, Steph, in particular, Mateus Nunes in at right back, which, as we know, was a role he had to learn last season.
Yeah.
But you said you think he's come on leaps and bounds since then.
No, he has. I think he's always got confidence. I feel as though he feels a bit of a part of the group. I think probably his first year at City, he was kind of trying to find where he's going to play, and by default he went to right back last season, and I think it's a new position, but ultimately I think he's probably got used to that position, maybe coming in centre midfield to get on the ball, but his 1v1 defending has come on so much. But I think that's a confidence thing. He's got the physical attributes to do it, but it's actually going to win the ball against the best wingers in the league.
Steph, you've got to see it as well, like for a right winger to drop into right back, it's more natural, but for a centre midfielder to be able to do it, like, it's just as hard.
Yeah, because sometimes that happens in a game. Like if there's a centre half or a full back out of position, they naturally would do that. Yeah. So you obviously start from a different position, but actually it probably makes more sense for someone like that to do that, and rightly so. He's probably earned his spot this season.
For sure.
If you're wondering what all the noise, of course, suddenly is, you can see just over his shoulder there, City are picking up the trophy. I've been struggling to say this all day. The Anglo-Palerian... That's not it. Trophy. Thank you.
Palermiton.
That it?
Do you know who will know? Ali Man. Ali Man will definitely know how to pronounce the name of this trophy, so shall we hand over to someone who knows what they're doing? Yeah, Ali, over to you, mate.
Thanks, Kel. Flattered that you think I know what I'm doing, which is fabulous news. Yeah, the Anglo-Palermitan trophy. The first trophy picked up by Bernardo Silva in his tenure as the new club captain. Let us hope that it is one of several that he picks up as the new Manchester City captain. He's at the heart of a mixed team group with both the Palermo players and the City players side by side. It is an honour that Bernardo Silva has not taken lightly. He is so very proud to be the new club captain, appointed, remember, by Pep Guardiola, because in the past few years the captaincy has been kind of voted on by the players themselves. Pep left it up to the players to decide who would be part of the captain's sort of team of about 4 or 5, and the actual leader, the genuine club captain, was picked by the players. Well, this time Pep Guardiola has decided that he will make the choices, and his first choice was to make Bernardo Silva the club captain, and his deputies include Ruben Diaz and Rodri, and also Erling Haaland, who took the club captain's armband in the first half this evening. Well, the ground is now starting to empty. The Anglo-Palermitan trophy is going to be taken off to the City trophy cabinet, and the Blues are starting to make their way back into the dressing room to fly home and prepare for the game next week at Molineux.
Thank you, Ali. You you taught us there, and we will go home and learn our lessons, won't we now? We're alongside, of course, Steph, Sean and Natalie has looked to my left. We're still here in the stadium. Players are doing a little lap, showing a little applause to all the fans that made it out here today. Picking up off where we were kind of singling out performances we enjoyed. One in particular that stood out in the first half. Ryan Cherky. Sean Wright-Phillips, talk to me.
It's an attacker's dream. Honestly, just some of the things he tries and sees, it kind of gives you that carrot to say, the next time I'm going to go again.
For sure.
Because you can see the passes he played. I think once him, Haaland and whoever the wingers are playing build that relationship, you're going to see more of these passes become more successful and get behind those defenders, because you can see in the passes he tried, the players applauded for it. It was the right thing to do at that precise moment. So just these touches on the ball, his nice little flicks, you saw a little bit of him showboating where he showed his capabilities, and his speed in which he dribbles either foot with, which is fascinating as well.
There are those players, I believe, Steph, and that's only from listening to ex-players, that see the game and will try things that only they will try, and, you know, it's a small percentage of players that have that different point of view on a game, and he feels like he's one of those mavericks, for want of a better word.
Yeah, he is. I think I like the fact that he wasn't scared to go and get the ball off the back foot and try and make things happen. And there's these few times when the ball's coming into him and he's wanting to play it over the top first time, and Mamouche is a little bit on his heels, but I think that connection will come. And I like the fact that he's always forward thinking, which is a big thing for us. I think there's been times where maybe we play it back a little bit more, but I think now with the players that we have, And for the likes of Haaland, Mamouche, whether that's Oscar Bob, that's on the wing, Savinho, Doku, they'll be thinking, oh my God, he's going to give us the ball every single time. We're going to have more opportunities to score.
And of course, as you said to us during that game, Sean, he's wearing 29. Your old shirt. Do you think he picked it because he loves you?
Well. I don't know if he knows me, but I'm still happy he's wearing it, to be honest.
I thought he gave you a little spud there when he walked past you, Sean. Was that? I didn't see that, no.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, Cal.
So we've talked about Ryan Nori and we've talked about Cherky as well. The other new player that we haven't talked about yet, well, two of them indeed. We need to talk about James Trafford as well. But of course, Tijjani Reijnders, 2 goals there in the second half. Oh, you happy?
He's cooking.
Sean, is he cooking?
I think he's just warming up. That's the worrying thing. I think he's got that much about him in the way he plays, especially that third man run. It can kill a low block because he would just run, and we got the players cute enough to get the ball to him somehow. And we've seen his quality. Even he could have had a hat trick, but the confidence and the calmness for him to try what he tried to do shows you what level he's actually playing at within his mind.
Also, Steph, the runs from deep, I mean, it's where both goals really came from. Nearly had a hat-trick as well. We have one man who has been at the best of that for the last 5 years in Ilkay Gundogan, but he's also got that ability, as well as just his linking up seamlessly like he's played in this team for 2, 3, 4 seasons already. Yeah,
it's crazy how quick he's settled in. I think you get them players that are going to maybe take a while, but he's settled in from the Club World Cup. I think he's an all-round midfielder, which I don't think we've really had one of them for a long, long time.
Sure.
But for me, I think today, the finishes that he could have had that hat-trick. He probably tried to be a little bit clever, but look, I think that confidence and that quality you can see every time he comes on the pitch.
And James Trafford picking up here where he left off at Burnley with a clean sheet as well. Great first game, great debut for him.
Yeah, it's amazing to see academy boy come back and actually start in the first team and play in an environment like this. And he's definitely going to be the number one in the future, whether it's this season or next season. But he did everything right tonight in terms of playing out from the back and being available for the crosses that were in the box. So he should be proud of himself, and I feel a big future for him.
We talked earlier about, obviously, that we were able to put out basically 2 different 11s. Both felt like they had different strengths. Obviously, in the second half, when you played the likes of Savinho and Doku, raw width, raw pace that can go very direct. The interchangeability in the first half of, Marmouche, Cherky, Oscar Bob, who was great to see him back on the pitch. It suddenly feels, Sean, going into this season, there's a variety of options in the way we want to attack and break down a team, which I don't feel we've maybe had in the last season or two as much.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, but also, like Steph said, I think a lot of the first half was, in many ways, the future of City. If that makes sense. That's the ones we're going to be watching in maybe 7 years' time. That will be the more regular players. And to see them play the way they played it's almost refreshing to know what's to come in the future. It's almost like we had a crystal ball, isn't it, really, tonight? Yes. Because that's basically what we got to see. And to see, obviously, the second 11, you can see it's a more patient, slow, but aggressive at the same time. And I think to get a mix and blend like that, I think we couldn't really ask so much more. And there's still massive key players missing in many ways in terms of, especially in attack and defence. We've got massive players missing that would normally start. So that shows you how far the club's come since, you would say, January window to now.
For sure. Hugo Viano's done a brilliant job so far. And Steph, it's not only great, obviously, for us and to keep players on the toes, as you pointed out, but now for opposition coming up against us. We know they like to do the low block, but all of a sudden they may be second-guessing how actually do we defend this Manchester City team. Questions they maybe were asking 4 or 5 years ago that maybe they thought we don't have to ask them anymore.
Yeah, I think obviously last year the narrative was probably a little bit predictable in terms of how we play, but I think now you wouldn't be able to guess what the starting 11 is, especially the front 3, the midfield 3. It's going to be hard, and as a defender you like to prepare, you like to know whether Oscar Bob likes to come inside and try and link up with Haaland, or Savinho wants to go down the wing. It's quite hard to mentally kind of change that from game to game, so I think for Pep as a manager, I'm sure he'll be happy that he's got all them choices.
Lots of choices and lots of youth coming through as always as well, because you mentioned about youth there and having a crystal ball for the future. We had 17-year-old Divine came on as well, and we know how phenomenal that he's been for the under-18s, the amount of goals he got last year as well. So it was nice just at the end there just to see a little more of the academy.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I think this is what this club does, is try and get the academy boys through to be able to progress them as much as possible, and it's a great chance to come here and play with great players. And obviously Divine had a great season last season, playing that number 10 role, key player for the EDS, winning the league. So yeah, I mean, he came on, did everything that he could, and we were saying at the end, when you're a young player, sometimes the adrenaline gets the best of you coming on, making your debut, but really, really happy for him, and that's just what this club's about, bringing them young players through.
And also, Sean, then for the other young players, I know this is quite pointing out the obvious question again, but it's great that they are seeing that path route seems very, very clear now, even then when you're looking at the likes then of Oscar, Rico, that are all making up this Manchester City squad.
I think because of that is the reason why we're seeing a lot more young players perform the way they are, because they can see that hard work pays off at the end. There's light at the end of the tunnel. It's just not a tunnel that's leading nowhere. And City always give them the tools to, if they don't make it here, they can go and make it somewhere else and fulfill their dream, which is, for me, is the special thing. Some coaches and some kids make it but can't play anywhere else. But with City, they give you all the tools you need to go anywhere and play football.
So let's look at it as a general then. Obviously, we know it's just the only pre-season game that we're getting this year due to the Club World Cup. Premier League starts next year. We've had a clean sheet. We've had 3 goals. We've saw lots of players. It feels like lots of positives from tonight, Steph. But any concern from you about the fact that it is just the one pre-season friendly that we're getting this year?
Not really, to be honest. I think, for me, in terms of the squad that we have, I think that training sessions are the most important at this moment in time when you can't get them games and you're able to train against the players that you're going to play with, which are world-class players. So for me, I think these boys are fit enough. They've obviously only had a couple of weeks off and they're going to come back in. And look, we've got an experienced group along with them youngsters that we're bringing through. They've got the chance to be able to build into the season, and it's a long season. So for me, I think everything tonight was positive. People came out fit and are ready to go next week.
And final word, Sean, obviously, Wolves next week. What are your thoughts for that opening game, obviously away from home to begin with? What do you make of Wolves and how do you think we're going to get on?
Going to Wolves or playing Wolves is always tough. It's never going to be easy, and there isn't many Premier League games that are easy, to be honest with you. But I think with the fact that Wolves have lost Cunha and Ain't Nori, they've lost a lot of firepower and defensive stability in many ways. So I think we will win that game, I think, going there with the team that we got and the way we play. But we're going to have to do the dirty work first because we're away from home, and that's just football in general.
Thank you so much to the both of you for being here this weekend. It's been lovely. We've had a lovely day with you, a lovely evening watching it with you. I
hope so.
I know.
Well, we're not finished the show yet, Sean. Don't ruin it. But it has been an absolute pleasure. And as well, it's been an absolute treat.
Nice to see you, Kel. I never see you. We're on different ships usually.
No, we'll tell management a bit more of this, please. Email in. But no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you to all for joining us. Steph, Sean, thank you as always. So the season begins next week, as does our women's season, and tickets are available now. So we'll leave you that, and we look forward to seeing you next week and for the rest of the season. Last thing for us to say is come on, City, and good night.
The Joy Stadium. We're proud to call this place our home. A home where magic moments unfold, full of goals and entertainment. Welcome to anyone and everyone. Changing the way things are done for today and tomorrow. Because there really is no place like home.